Hi, I'm Ed Muzio, CEO of Group Harmonics, and I'm going to talk to you briefly about how companies get slower as they get bigger and how you can prevent that. If you've scaled a company, you know this. You get to about 20, 30 people, it starts to slow down. It kind of starts about the time the CEO becomes somebody's boss's boss, and then the bigger you get and the more levels you get, the more painful it gets. It usually starts with some form of chaos, people bumping into each other, running around out of sync, more work in the system. Then somebody comes in and recommends to fix the chaos with some bureaucracy. So we need bigger quarterly review meetings or more robust management software, which aren't terrible things in and of themselves, but they do tend to slow you down, especially if you don't do them well. So now you're getting the message that you are now at a size, even though you're still pretty small, you're now at a size where you are too big to be both fast and organized. And so you can have chaos, which means no predictability and no accountability, or you can have bureaucracy, which means you have no speed and no agility. And so the leader now has this weird, awkward job of like installing just enough bureaucracy to keep the chaos kind of at bay, but not so much that it slows you down too much. The thing is, this chaos versus bureaucracy is a false trade-off. First of all, chaos is slow too. It is not fast for people to run around and bump into each other. They may run fast, but the output is not fast. But it's really a bigger issue than that, because when you add people to an organization, you are adding resources and complexity to the system. So if I take your computer and I put a new chip in it, a new brain, a new microprocessor, and I give it back to you and I say, I've put a more complex, more resourced system to run your computer, so it's going to go slower, so open fewer tabs and work slower, you're probably going to fire me as your IT guy. And that's because you're right. That shouldn't be the case, right? Well, I'm an engineer. I was in tech for 10 years. I've been doing this for about 20 years. And what I do is I help companies increase speed by increasing size. I do it from startups to the Fortune 500. I know what has to happen, and I know how to make it happen. The what has to happen in some ways is the easy part. You just have to run the company you just have to run the company a little differently. Standard management, you make a plan, management leadership gets together once a week or so, and they look at the status. How's it going right now? And the answer is mostly okay. And then they leave the meeting and they run around all week and do a bunch of work, so they come back next week and they say, still mostly okay, status good. What we know, and I call this iterative management, but it's empirical, I didn't invent it, I just put words around it. The top performing companies don't do that. They get together and they don't look here, they look out there. They say, we together are trying to go out here in the future, and hey boss, right now my part of it is going to pull us this way, so I suggest we do XYZ thing right now today to bring those two futures back into alignment. We do that, we break something else, we fix that, and in doing this, we have more decisions per cycle, more actions per cycle, and the whole organization in coordination just takes bite by bite of the work. In other words, we iterate. If you are able to run like that, if you iterate, you will be in the top about 15% of performers in your space. You will run circles around your competitors, this is what the research says, and you will surprise and delight your investors and your customers with both the speed at which you deliver results and also the predictability with which you deliver results. So, great. How do you do it? Well, you can start with my book, Iterate, give it to your leadership team, and have them run that way. If you're small, if you have 5 or 10 people, that might be enough. Do that. You'll have to do it in your language, not my language, but do that, and we'll never have to meet, and you'll be glad you did. If you're larger, if you already have the levels, if you're already kind of stuck in that trade-off, it can be harder, and that's what my consulting firm does. So I have something I call the Iterate Accelerator. I come in for about a quarter and work with 3 levels of leadership all at once. Not all day, every day. There's some touch points kind of beginning and end. There's some support in the middle, and then I leave. I'm not a forever guy. I think consultants have a reputation for wanting to work themselves into a job forever. I'm an engineer. We work ourselves out of jobs. And so I go. And when I go, the first thing I hear is, we got more done while you were here than we would have otherwise. And then when I check in a few years later, what I hear is, we are continuing to get more done. We are faster still. Things like 50% measurable improvement in team performance, things like 20% or more aggregate organic growth year over year for 3 or more years, things like, in a larger client, we surprised Wall Street and ourselves with our results. I was on a panel last year with Todd Powell of Reflection Medical, and he said, we did this in our company 5 years ago, and his quote was, today you couldn't pry it out of the company, nor would you want to. It has been a change in who we are and how we work, and has made us better. So I get in, get out, and we do that. I also have the other things you would think a guy like me would have. I have a class, I have a keynote, I have the book. Happy to talk with you about any or all of that. My email is on the screen. If you go to iteratenow.com, you can watch a 6-minute video in case you don't want to read a whole book, and that'll show you what it's about. And if you add the /IRL on the end, you can see some detailed information about how we do the accelerator and why it's really the best way to turn it on in a complex organization and get in and get out in a quarter. Also, here at the conference, I'm current in the app, and I have a table out there just a little ways that way where I'm giving away books for free. They're $25 on Amazon, but they're free here. So please grab a book. I say that because they're heavy if I have to carry them home. So thank you very much for your time.